Charity.
Yeah.
And then he was picking her up. And Riley was early because they were going to the station to pick Alice up.
Oh, I see.
And Madeline didn't know this was a Mother's Day thing for Alice.
Just quickly grab that one
Oh,
and
I
see
see.
what...
Picking Alice
Yes,
up.
I see.
Just see what... Oh, we need
Madeline
batteries
didn't
for
know,
that
and
bit,
that's
right?
why he was early.
Yeah.
I think they're in that little...
Would Alex be at home?
Oh, yeah, they're
yes,
all at
I just
they're all
want to see
at
if it's any
home.
wider. Need to put that round.
Were the flowers from those are from Gina?
Yeah.
Are they
Because then
very
you've got
nice,
total
aren't
control.
they?
Yeah.
What did you have from?
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Because that one's not wide at all, but it wouldn't matter if on the stairwell, something than that one on the stairwell.
I shouldn't have poured your tea out, really, should you?
Oh no, we'll be there in a minute.
Have it, and then it won't go cold.
Well, once we've got this, we're just going to set them recording, and then it's just doing.
Just
and then we
icing.
can forget about them. You see?
No, hold on, there's something not right.
What about the tripod?
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about that for now. Just want to see what physically it's going to do. We like dinging noises.
Yeah.
Oh, is that coming? I thought it was outside.
That's wider. It's better.
Yeah. So we're going to swap it, have we?
We are going to swap it.
Okay.
Oh,
No.
well, we chose not
Do
to
we
use
wanna-
this one.
Huh?
We chose not to use this one, didn't we? Because the camera tapes are too short. Remember, we've only got 40 minutes on each of these. We're going to do this one at Grandpa's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember we chose. So,
So how many? We've got 2 tapes for that, haven't we?
yeah, we've got 3 for that, 40 minutes each, but we don't want to keep switch, you know.
Yeah.
So we
Which
decided not to
one
use
are
that
they
one,
giving
remember?
for
Yeah,
charity?
okay.
We're using these two. So,
Okay.
That one.
That
that
one, I
angle.
put it over there because
Yeah.
Andrew
And
said
then
he was
that
coming
one
on the
over there.
photo.
what do you
Charity,
fancy?
can you just taste your tea? I don't know whether I got the one
Oh,
with sugar.
wow.
Because I put sugar in one of them.
Perfect.
Is the sugar in
yes,
that one?
so that one must be
I
alright.
thought I'd taken the wrong
Well,
one.
I think
thought
that's a
this
good angle.
tasted
That
a
one.
little-
Yeah, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
So I
That's
think
fine.
maybe one
Let me
over
just
the-
have a look. Oh, brilliant.
So what about?
You ladies look so lovely.
Oh.
You do.
Lovely.
Yeah, well you are lovely.
That's
She looked in the camera there, but it's
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
Right, I think I
well,
think
at
one
least it'll be
overhead,
natural,
so you don't
you know,
see
it's
your
no
head,
posing,
back of
it's
your head.
Right, okay.
What about that?
Yeah, it sounds fair. Can you make sure it's on close up? It's really important, yeah?
Close up on who?
On the ladies.
You haven't seen Oliver,
Well,
have
I
that's
you?
think that this is a bit erratic. See that?
Well, once it's on there, it's done. I can't wait to see Oliver.
Yeah, I wonder
Really,
if-
really.
Just with him being late last night.
More so than ever, because I know he's talking.
They're staying for dinner as well.
Well, look, the only thing about
Which we're
close
quite
up.
pleased about, because I thought they might be going to Mandy's.
Oh,
mother.
they're staying at G.
But,
Oh, very good.
Mandy's mother's in Spain.
Actually,
Oh,
It
is
means-
she?
I like that because it
This
means.
is fine actually.
Well, it just means you've got because you'll be in your head's
I'll
in
be
there as
the
well.
frame.
Yeah. So I think if we push that couch back a bit, so you stay there. Do you mind if I just move this seat back a bit? We'll put it back.
Probably show the
Oh,
dusters
there's
and
toffee on the floor.
Careful.
What about that? If your head will be here, can you see the head in frame?
That's where they
Yeah.
That's it
there's
then.
the
Yeah.
casters.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's alright.
I think that's nice because you just see your profile and then us three on the couch.
Yeah, but this is not right at the angle. Yeah.
What do you need to do?
I need to get it more like this.
Oh, you mean level it off?
Yeah.
Alright, let's take this one here. No, you can't do that. Absolutely.
No,
You can't side by side.
I
I know you
know.
know.
I'm just checking.
We've got to hurry up because we're going to. It's more important just to get going. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I can re-shift everything if you need to.
Yeah, okay. But I really need us to do some close-up ones because these are both long shots from 2 different angles.
Okay. We need to decide how we're going to do it. We've got 2 cameras. We haven't got enough cameras to do that. Let's use that
Would
one.
you
but
rather
that
sit
can only-
here?
you
This
can
is
only do
your
one close
place.
up.
Is it?
It's
Come on, you sit
No,
You're
down.
interviewing and I'm in
Yeah.
frame. I'm happy just filming this.
No,
I just sat
That's
here
what I'm
out
saying.
of the
You
way,
need to
you
be
know.
there 'cause you need to be interviewing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if we had a cameraman, we'd do it.
I got it. Go. Go, guys, sit down.
Okay. You need to set that on recording if you're ready.
No, I'm not ready.
Alright.
Sit down.
Oh,
No,
that's
that's,
not
that's,
right.
that's,
the
this is
outside.
yours, yeah.
Am I going in between the two ladies?
Yes, of course you are.
Oh, lovely.
And make sure you behave yourself.
Right, let's
You'll have
just
to.
do a couple of final adjustments here and here.
Definitely, yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yes, I know.
Beautiful.
More attractive, go on.
There's quite good, Grandma. There's quite good.
Wasn't much
So have you had a
talking.
nice Mother's Day?
Great. Very nice so far. Alan came yesterday morning,
Right.
And how's his knee, Hilda? Was it?
I didn't ask him
No.
actually, he was so busy telling me about other things, you know. Yeah, he's on the mend, I think, really, but a little over there. I'll give them a ring later on and thank Madeline actually for the present and the card. Is it,
That one's not set up at all.
Yeah, I think we
is it
need a
photographing
tripod.
now?
I
Tripod
don't
for,
think so.
tripod for which?
For that one.
Okay.
Tell me when it starts reeling. Is it playing now?
No.
No, we're not ready yet.
You're just getting it focused on you.
Yeah. We'll be ready in a minute. You guys excited? I'm very
Right,
excited.
they can't contain their excitement.
Oh, Auntie Doris, I can't wait. I'm very excited.
Charity, why
Yeah.
don't I swap with Auntie Doris
Why?
and then you can do a bit more of a close-up?
Why? Of...
Because I don't need to be in close-up. Do you see what I mean? Getting us three in as a close-up more is difficult. Do you see what I mean? If I sit over there, do you like it?
No, I prefer you without it.
I prefer it without, but I didn't get a chance to shave this morning. That's why I'm trying to get out of the close-up.
Ah.
Charity, listen, if I sit where Auntie Doris is sitting, then you can get a bit nearer in. Should we try it and see what you think?
She's concentrating.
She is. I'm going to move this over here so that it's not in shot. Do you want to swap with me or we can just test something? We might be moving back, but let's give it a go. What do you think?
Nope, don't like it. I
Okay,
want you
what-
in the middle.
Okay.
I'll change.
I'll change
I'll
again.
change.
The director,
So sorry.
The director has spoken.
So you're taking the three of us on this one?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Is that alright?
Up to you.
Oh, it's me?
What?
Up to me?
No,
Yes.
it's Charity.
Oh, it's going
No, Charity's the boss.
I don't know what's happening.
I'll tell you what, why don't we get that little table out? Charity, can we pull that table out? That you, I know you just
Which
so we can put the biscuits in,
Yes,
in
yes,
the front.
yes, absolutely. I'll help you.
Let's
No,
get both
actually,
so that
you
you've
do
got your cup of tea next to you. And can you grab these for me?
Which one? This
Or
one?
just pull that to you, put that over on your side,
Okay.
where you're going to be sat. And then you can have your cup of tea next to you.
Thank you. And this is for the biscuits.
That's for the bickies, and that'll look nice
Yeah.
in the front.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be brilliant when we don't get these goodies anymore. We'll be stuck with plastic bickies, you know?
Plastic bickies?
Yeah.
When?
Well, we'll soon run
In
out
the
of
future?
biscuits. Yeah.
Are we running out of biscuits?
Yeah.
The world's running out of biscuits?
Yeah.
I've got plenty of biscuits. Do you want another? Yeah, do you want another plate?
I think charity means the worldwide we're running out of
No, I meant
biscuits.
to say on the picture, do you want another plate of biscuits or anything?
I think that's fine. I think that looks nice. I don't think you're that generous. No, I'm kidding. You,
It's so
you
naughty.
try and get me to eat Mars bars,
Andrew, you
No
are so naughty.
dairy milk. Oh, I like the dairy milk. Now, charity, if you turn your phone off.
I don't have it.
Good. Have you turned your mobile phones off, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
No.
I know you like organising your, your
Right,
your Sunday
right.
nights.
Well, what ones will the mobile phone be?
Well,
Turn on that.
Just if it started ringing halfway,
It would,
Would it affect the...
well, it would just go off. You know, it wouldn't. It's not nice hearing a mobile phone. You know, if you're listening to the news on the BBC,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you heard boop, and the news
Yeah.
radio had to say, "Please excuse me, nation. Hello, I can't. No, dear, I can't talk. Yes, I'll go to Tesco on the way home and get some
Yes.
chicken.
Well,
It wouldn't sound very good, would it?
No.
No.
yeah, but we wouldn't mind listening in on your conversations.
Oh, well, I would mind. I'd mind very much.
Would ya?
Is this all charities equipment?
No, none of it is
That's
mine.
my camera. That's Mum and Dad's camera. And this one that we had out before is the one at my work that I'm working at the moment.
I see. And whose are the tripods?
Dad's and mine.
Right, did you do a white paper test for this one?
Yes. How does it look on screen?
I don't like it,
You don't like it?
honestly.
What don't you like?
Oh, it's just that it's too far away. And it's wonky.
Why don't I not sit in frame and help you out a bit?
No, you stay right where you are.
Move that one down on your right hand on that side.
This one?
Yeah, and then it won't be wonky. Why don't I line it up for you? Honestly, it won't take me a second. Excuse me. Let's have a look.
When did you
That's what I mean. It's always going to be too far because you've got
No,
two people
Friday,
at two sides of the
When
room.
you got home, probably.
Yeah, but
Yes.
there's a card there
Yes.
from Nick.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's just the problem.
I know, I think it.
So that's why I'm saying, why don't we make this one the wide up here, getting the whole scene 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
Mhm.
and then we can get maybe that one around the side, and you can get a close up from the side looking across.
All right, let's
Right?
do that. Yeah.
Okay, right. You go and sit in, I'll sort these out, and then. Sorry about this.
Sorry, ladies.
Got to get the correct composition, you know.
Yeah, we should have had the hairdresser and the makeup artist if I know.
Oh yeah, they cancelled at the last minute. That's a,
They let
They-
us down.
yeah, they cancelled at the last minute, the makeup artist. And
And you'll see, I don't know if you've catch them cold anyway from brewing them. It is warm, isn't
It is,
I
a
lit
big
that fire to
difference,
start
yes.
with, don't you,
Mhm.
that heater's on over there.
this is that one is that's the wide because of the just the lens.
Yeah.
You need to sort the sound out, Charity. So leave the cameras. I'll do the cameras. You do sound. We need to be filming in 5 minutes.
Back in a minute.
There's the sound leads.
Oh, there's no biscuit there. I've just put them there, I've forgotten they were there. I'll have to open the door and
Okay.
put it to. Thank you very much for the plant, Andrew. It's very nice. I love those gerbies. I think they're lovely.
They are nice, aren't they?
I've looked at them quite often, but I've never actually bought one.
I've never heard the name
Yeah,
before.
I've
But you've never heard of them?
I've seen them, but I never knew what they were called. I just call them big daisies.
Very nice plant.
Well, you would, Auntie Doris. I don't know. Big daisies.
Big daisies. Now go and get in there. Let me see what it looks like. Because I don't want you blocking off Auntie Doris.
Now look, the more we haven't got enough tapes to be going that much longer, so you need to.
Go on, get in. Let me
Alright.
see quickly. Sounds almost ready.
Just doing a couple of final checks.
I think I'd better make another pot of tea. It's a bit cold. Have you tried it?
Oh, go on then. Well, have we got time for another?
Brilliant. Yeah, we have.
Well, drink your tea, drink it, and then I'll
Alright.
make another cup and pour it out.
Well, this technology at the house hasn't seen so much
No.
cables.
No. Well, I've never
I
seen
thought
so
you were
much
just going to
equipment.
come with a camera.
We have come with a camera. Oh, sorry, 3 cameras.
No, I thought you were just
Just
going to come
one
with
or
a Kodak, you know.
A Kodak.
You don't
A
know
brownie.
what to call that. There's a brownie.
I don't know what a
Do you know what a
Kodak
brownie is?
is. What's a brownie?
The
Kodak
very first
brownie.
camera,
The very first camera.
box camera, square.
Never
You
heard
look
of it.
through a little square.
You've not
Yes,
heard of it?
of course you have. You
Yes.
look into it
That
and
was
then
the
it
very
reflects
first.
the thing upside down.
Keep going.
That was the very first, I think, one of the very first cameras, I think.
When did it come out, the brownie?
Oh, no, I think when we were young,
When we were young, that's
we always had a brownie.
over 80 years ago.
Over 80 years ago.
Yes,
84,
because we had
precisely.
going on
84.
holiday. We had snaps, you know, taken with the brownie camera, and you could get
I've got a question.
They were all black
You
and
know-
white, they weren't sort of coloured, you know, there
Right.
were no coloured then.
About 30 or 40 years ago,
Yeah.
did you used to live in black and white?
No, it
Were
came-
things black and white, or is it just what would the film look like?
the film,
Oh.
just the film.
Other film that's
Because that would have been a bit scary waking up one morning and suddenly you were in colour. Oh look! Look, Doris!
I'm just
I'm in colour!
Well, it was something, wasn't it, when colour, it was colour, was transparencies first, and then they started
I
to,
remember
Oh, you mean film or
the
like?
first thing that they used to do with a black and white film picture,
Mm.
you could take it to our photographers and they'd paint it.
oh, that's right,
Oh
yes.
wow.
They'd paint
Yes,
it
that's
roughly,
right, they did.
roughly colours they thought. Because do you remember that one?
Did
I
you often
had,
come out a bit pink and a bit?
Yeah. You
Don't
know
be
that one I
funny.
had taken at the Isle of Man, at the holiday camp, dancing, and the ballroom full of people, and nearly all
Wow.
Stockport was there. Harold Winston
Yes,
and all those. And it was crowded, and it was Stockport Wakes Week, and you could pick all those out from Stockport.
Oh,
How
that's-
Stockport had been.
I don't remember that
And
photograph.
yeah, and he had it coloured. Not coloured like now. you
Who
know.
was this? Who had it coloured?
Harold Winston.
Oh, Harold Winstanley.
Yeah,
oh,
he
yes.
had it coloured. But they weren't colours like they are now. If you get a coloured photograph now, they.
Oh, they're exact.
colours,
Yes,
aren't
that's right. Yes.
But that was the first. I'll make
Yes,
another pot of tea.
You need to move back, I think. So if you make the tea, we'll just do final
Are
adjustments.
you filming? Tell me when you start filming. Oh, is it filming now?
No, it's not filming
Oh.
yet.
Right, yeah, put the kettle.
Because I'm
We'll
going
just.
to
We'll,
slurp my tea.
so I think your head's right in the frame of Grandma. So can you? Are you got comfortable there?
Yeah.
Right. We're ready. So.
Right, well,
Pop-
I'll go
pop the-
until I go and make another cup
It's
of
like,
tea.
yeah, if you want, if I'm,
Yeah.
I'm all right, but if you want one, have one.
I'm
Well,
all right. Well, I've got
I'm not
coffee
having it,
anyway.
yeah.
Are you
Oh, no,
all right?
I'm fine. Let's
Would you
go
like
then.
another one?
I think we should go then. I think we should.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Hold on. Right. Do you want to just pip the?
Yep, yep, yep.
Do you want to put it down here, Hilda?
Right.
Will do, just in
I've just
case.
got the camera going on the remote control. Yeah.
Sure.
No, it's alright. I'll do it from here. Okay, that's that one. And that's that one. Right. Good. We're on.
Yes, we're ready now.
Are we recording, Charity?
Oh yes, we
Okay.
are.
What would you like to ask me?
You were naughty, weren't you?
So-
You used to play tricks on these ladies.
I don't play tricks. I didn't
Yes,
realise.
I
this-
used to put his nappy on
Oh,
and I used to bath him. Do you remember?
Tell her
Tim?
about the peeing story.
Do you remember?
Sorry.
Do you remember at Street? You were in a cot in the bedroom, and I had a little single bed in the same room. You were only very, very young,
How
you were a
old was
little
I?
baby girl.
No, I wouldn't remember that.
You
No.
could just stand up by the cot, and I used to wake up every morning, and I saw this little head over the cot, looking at me. He never said anything or
That
murmured.
would be like Snoop, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Snoop.
But no, the
I
funniest
do remember it.
thing
I
was,
remember thinking, I love you.
yeah,
I love you, Grandma.
and then I remember, well, you do, I know you do, taking you for a walk in Street, and it was up a hill, right at the back of your house, and you weren't very well, and you had something wrong, cold in his eye, and he couldn't open his eye.
Where was this, Hilda?
At
Which
Street.
house? Oh, at Street.
Street.
Mm.
And I was pushing him up this hill. He was like this. He could only open one eye. He looked at me. It was really funny. You couldn't, it was all
Yes.
You know how it goes together?
Yes, like
Yeah,
knotted
yeah.
together, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's you.
Horrible.
Go on, show us.
I just did.
It was
Great
together.
big eye, the other one, and he kept laughing and the whole little thing.
Oh my
I've
goodness.
had some escapades.
But no, I played tricks on Auntie Doris and Grandma. Remember the remote control on the phone?
Oh my goodness, yes.
I'm sat there.
Andrew. Yeah, hi Grandma, how are you? I'm fine.
I'm sat there. Sat serious. I said, but
I've got a problem with
video.
I've got a problem with the TV and the remote. It's not working.
I'm sat there.
Oh, I'm like, oh, go and get it. She's like, oh. So she,
So I go over and I get the handset and I'm sat there. He said, now press such a thing.
I
And
said,
I'm pressing it.
no, hold on. There's a major thing you're missing here.
What's that?
I said, put it up to the phone so I can have a look. she's like, you are? I said, I'll put it up to the phone, so, you know. And I was like, she's like, oh, all right. So apparently she's doing this like, oh, I can see that there's buttons of different colours. Because, you know, you get the red,
And I had
green,
to tell you
blue
what
and
colour
yellow.
they were.
You know, for the teletext. She was like, how do you know? It's like, I can see the phone. She's like, oh, right. I was like, right, press this. Red, green, green, red, red. I'm like, Grandma, come on. You can't see
I
down
didn't
till...
know. I honestly, I was really taken
Taken in.
And
I
every
really
year,
was.
Yes, it was so
and every year I get Auntie Doris because we've got a little lighter thing on the gas stove, and it looks a bit like a mobile phone. So I'm always like, I walk into the kitchen on the phone, pretending well, you know, with it, and I'm like, yes, Alistair, yeah, all right, I'll just pass you on to Doris, and you're like, I'm
Yeah,
like, it's,
and I have difficulty finding, I can never sort of find the right place for
but you have
her.
a go. So last year you were like,
Yeah, I know.
hello,
Yeah, I know.
cracking stuff. It's awful, really. Nick did it with Uncle Harry. Do you remember?
Oh,
Harry
yeah.
was sat right by the TV,
Yeah.
and he kept saying, "Oh, can someone turn it up? Can someone turn it up?" So Nick would
Oh,
turn
that's right,
so from a
on
distance, we
television.
were all sat around on Christmas Day, and Nick would turn it up, and and Harry would be like this, and then he'd turn it down, and Harry would get close to the TV and do this, and then he'd turn it right up as loud as it would go, and Harry's like, and he thinks it's all in his head. Bless him.
That was a shame.
It
That was a shame.
funny.
that was.
Anyway.
Played some tricks there, haven't we? And then Nick comes on. This is the gas board. Quite serious. And I'm sat there listening to this is the gas board. I mean, I've twigged now. Now I realise it's either one or the other.
Because they try to disguise
Because
their
at first they
voices, you
disguise
see.
the voices.
But he did Chris Tarrant, didn't he, once?
Oh,
Yes, he
he
did.
said his telex
Chris-
is
yes,
Chris
Chris
Tarrant,
Tarrant.
yes.
And you're really taken in by the alteration of the voice.
The alteration of the voice.
How do they do that? You know, he sort of sent a text,
Because
sent
that
you to Grandma
telephone
one,
thing,
then
it
he
was
sent
the
me one.
funniest thing.
And you pick up the
And now
phone,
told
it rings,
everybody
and
about it.
that's right.
I
You pick
felt
up the
about
phone,
that bit.
Oh.
and he says, "Oh, I've got a message for you. This is Tom Baker. Is it? Oh, what was his
Chris
name?
Tarrant.
I've got still it on.
No, it's
No, no,
Tom
it's-
Baker.
it's all
Tom
right.
Baker. The
Hilda, it's on for 20. Doctor Who. Tom Baker.
Doctor Who,
Alright.
Tom Baker.
Yeah.
And then he says the message in his. It's him reading the message out, and it's from Nick
That's
actually.
so
you
funny.
see. How
I
did they
think
do
I
that
have.
sort
I've no
of
idea.
thing?
Oh, what, you mean you can
Oh,
hear
I
Tom
hope you
Baker?
have.
I don't
Hilda.
know. Do they only last
Oh, they do.
20 days? Is it
Oh, well, we won't be able to hear it on the video though.
Oh,
so I
no,
wouldn't-
it's on the phone. Oh, no. I know. Just let me... No,
But I was prepared for it because your granddad had one the day before, so as ever he said Tom Baker, I thought, oh, this is Nick. So I rang Nick back and I said, is that Tom Baker?
Oh, that's a good one.
Grandma, we're in the middle of an interview here and you're on the phone.
She's seeing if the message is still on
She's
the
worse than one of
phone.
those rude girls. Yeah, in a minute, innit?
No, it's,
No,
Alright.
I think the 20 days
yeah,
will be
it's
up
finished.
there
It's
anyway.
another message.
That's a shame.
But it was on for
Oh, I know,
3 weeks or
yes.
whatever.
Mm.
Oh, well.
And it said, hello, Hilda. You know Tom Baker's voice, very
Yeah.
distinct. I have a message from your favourite grandson.
Favourite.
I'm sorry he can't get in touch with you or something now. He's at a meeting. So I phoned Nick back. And I mean, I realised it was a joke, you know, obviously. So I phoned him back, and I got another one after that from Tom Baker. He said, so sorry, your grandson has asked me to say how sorry, because it's just a meeting, he will phone you afterwards. So he'd obviously got the message that I
yes.
sent. I thought, oh, I'm taking in so much, I'm crackers. Oh, heck, it's still going.
We can edit that out.
And it's
No,
still
yeah,
going.
we won't know,
I
do
keep forgetting that thing's going. Help yourself.
Do you got a biscuit, Charity?
I got one, thank you.
You got a biscuit?
Yeah.
I'll have one. Oh, nice.
No thanks, Hilda.
Lovely.
And what about Oliver now then, talking?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
he's lovely.
he is. He's a little cutie.
Oh, he's lovely.
He really is.
Oh,
And giggle.
when did you
He's
first hear
giggling
him
all the
speak?
time,
He's
isn't he, Hilda?
very happy child. You know, he's
Well, Mandy and Simon are brilliant though, aren't they?
very good, yeah. Yes, he's very good. He's
And
lovely.
he sort of, and he's chuckling away, and he's sort of, and then he does that with his arms, doesn't he? Oh, he's lovely.
He's a bit like, what's that guy who says Mr. Grimsdale?
No,
You know the one with the
Mr.
ladder?
No,
Oh, Mr. Grimsdale!
No, my Mr.
Yeah. I think he's got a little, sort of a funny little, you know, little wobble.
Is that normal?
Mr. Grimsdale, yeah.
Oh,
I think he's just so cute that way. But
Yeah, Mr. Grimsdale, yeah, was when he was in the shop, Norman Muslim, it was always Mr. Grimsdale was the boss. You don't know that?
No, it doesn't ring a bell at all, no.
so did you go to the cinema to see those films, those old films?
Oh,
Well, that was the only way
there
we
was
could see them. There was no
no
television.
television then.
And we had radio by batteries. You had to go and have the accumulator recharged.
Was it the wireless then?
The wireless, that's right. It wasn't a radio, it was wireless, yes.
And
had
I
to go
remember before that, with nothing, I can't remember, we had absolutely nothing at Mount Road.
Yes.
And I remember, I don't know how old we'd be, quite young, you know, sort
Yes.
of in our early school days. And you remember the first time my father brought the radio home.
Actually, I can't.
Can't you?
No.
And
Is
it
that
was a
the Cossa?
Saturday afternoon, I can't remember.
No.
It was a Saturday afternoon and it was a great big thing, like that, over.
Oh, it was the Cossa then.
Yeah.
That was the shape,
And they
yes, I
put it
remember
in,
that.
and we all sat. We sat writing, you know, in case we missed it. Do you not remember that?
Oh, no, I remember the
Saturday-
Cossa,
yeah,
the first
Saturday afternoon,
radio
I
that we
remember.
had.
Listening to it the first time.
Yes, oh yes.
And on Sunday night they used to have a music hall thing on the radio. And we all used to sit round and roaring our heads
Yes,
off.
listening, that was
And
well, it was so,
and it was fantastic.
before that we had to make our own,
Yeah, we used to play
Entertainment.
cards.
yes.
Country Town River Sea.
Cards.
Oh,
Country Town River
oh.
Sea,
What's his name? Clock.
Cards.
Have you set your clocks now?
Not all of them.
No.
I must alter this one. It's been used. I'll have to alter my clock on the video.
Does it not
too.
do it automatically with mine? Oh, mine does.
I must alter it because I want to record something tonight. While I'm at Jean's.
But we had to make our, you know, sort of our own enjoyment, didn't
Oh,
we?
yeah.
We sort of amusements. We used
And
to.
that we used to have a record.
So how old were you when things like radio, when you got your first radio?
Well, I'm just trying to think. I know I was quite young. You know, well, we all were, obviously. But I remember we used to have about 3 records of Sandy Powell.
Oh, Sandy Powell,
You
the
remember
Laughing
Sandy
Policeman.
No.
And he used to do
The
sort
Laughing
of
Policeman.
Laughing
sketches
Policeman.
on the record.
You know.
And it was like a full story, full sort of play on the record. And Doris and I knew it word for word.
Oh,
We
goody.
used to go in the kitchen and I'd be Sandy Powell and Doris would be the other one. And or vice versa. And we used to, do you remember?
I do,
Do you
yes.
still remember it?
No, oh no, I
You
can't.
do.
Don't remember.
the word?
What's it?
No, I couldn't.
No.
Laughing
Yeah.
Policeman.
No, it was, there was Sandy Powell and
It
there
used
was
to
all
sort of
sorts
do it like a
things.
monologue, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, but it was a full.
And is that all 3 of you? What else have you done?
No else it didn't come into that. But I always remember...
So you two are the cheeky ones, were you?
No, not really.
Well, no, Elsie was older. She used to
Elsie
sort
was
of
the giggler.
go
Elsie and
out
I were the
and...
gigglers, I think, weren't we?
So hold on, who's
Remember,
the
they
young?
couldn't sit
Oh, I
us
know.
together.
Who's the
We
youngest?
used to go on holiday
We
and she
couldn't
had
sit
to
together.
part them. Yes.
Elsie and I, we only had to look at each other over nothing. And at the table, when we were on holiday, we couldn't be sat together, could we?
No, no, and we didn't dare move until my
Yeah.
mother sort of said, right, you can leave the table now. Other children at other, different tables, they were sort of going into the hallway, sliding down the banisters and all this sort of. We weren't allowed to. We had to wait until my mother sort of gave us the okay, yes, you can go now.
But I always remember Elsie, Auntie Elsie, used to be, it must have been something from the church, I'm not quite sure, some kind of club. Do you remember she was picked to sing this song? At some kind of show, I don't quite know what it was, but I always remember, I could see her now, and she was holding something.
Oh, I know, yes.
And she was singing
Stormy weather.
Stormy Weather.
Oh, wow.
And she stood there with, what would she be holding?
Oh, the gas.
That's
The
right.
gas, because we didn't have
That's
electricity
right. And she was
then.
holding her, and she was bellowing out.
It was one
What
of
do you mean
these
she was
that come
holding
Yes, sort of
That's right, came
a
out.
fancy like that, and then there'd be a
That's
bowl,
right.
and the light.
Mm.
You had
Mantle.
mantle. That's right. You had to
You had
light
to
it,
light it.
and Elsie was stood there in the
Yeah.
bedroom.
And I always remember Auntie Elsie. At Christmas we used to make our own decoration. Well, not all, but you know these paper things.
Chains.
Like lanterns and things.
Um,
Oh yeah, there's
yeah,
paper
fashion
chains. Yeah.
the gas.
Mm.
And of course Doris and I used to watch, and Elsie used to say every night, she used to light the mantle. Just to kid us, really. Frighten us, really.
Yes,
Shall I? Because I thought and she did
she
once.
did once. Yes, and
Yeah. She'd say, shall I? And we stood there, fine. And one day she did.
yes,
She lit it.
yes, and
Fortunately, no damage was done.
no, it was just a quick.
But, oh God, the escapade we
And
had.
then at
what were Mum and
Christmas-
Dad like? Were they quite strict, or were they quite?
Not really.
Were they quite?
No. Well, my father never said a word,
Mm.
really.
Mm.
He was a very humble man.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was the type, very reserved, very humble. Everybody liked him. You know what I mean? And your grandpa thought the world, Grandpa Massey,
Mm.
he thought there was no one like you. Your dad,
Dad.
grandpa,
Yes.
grandpa. I'm not saying anything about my mother.
Mm.
She was very strict.
She
but
was
she was-
strict, but
she was a
the
good mother.
spokeswoman,
She was
you know
a-
what I
yeah.
mean?
Mm.
But my father never said a
No,
word, did he?
yes, she always
He
get
used,
round
used to
him.
sit there and he used to like a joke. He used to have, laugh and have a joke. And yeah.
And when we used to have the parties at Christmas, not like they
Mhm.
do now, we sort of,
Oh no.
the tree never went up until Christmas Eve.
Mm.
And we used to decorate the tree, and then we used to stand round and sing carols. And that was Christmas Eve, that was the
That's
start of
See, that
Christmas.
sounds like a proper Christmas.
That's
Yes,
And
that
you
was for
only
Christmas.
did this. You only got all your cards and presents 2 weeks before Christmas. Now you're getting them in
Oh
November,
yes,
October.
yes. Mm.
So you had a fortnight.
So when you hear some older people sort of say, oh, it's Christmas is starting earlier and
Ridiculous.
earlier and earlier.
That's right.
It
it's
actually
true.
is true.
Absolutely true.
It is.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because you used to do the whole lot.
Because you get sick of Christmas.
Yeah.
By Christmas Day, you are sick of Christmas, aren't you?
A lot of people left most of their shopping till Christmas
Yes,
Eve.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the
Well, I
shops
do.
were open till
I
10
still do.
Yes, but
Mm.
sort of, I mean, sort of like
Mm.
vegetables
Yeah.
and their
I
turkey
see
and
what you
everything
mean.
like that, if they were
But
having
it's got
turkey.
so commercialised now. I mean.
Yes.
And I always remember my mother used to make a Christmas cake every year, and there was a little angel on it. Do you remember
Yeah.
the little white angel on it? Isn't it funny how you suddenly you forget?
And you made your own fun.
Yeah.
You used to have people, sort of friends at Christmas Day, and you'd
Mm.
sort of move all the furniture, and we'd have a dance. Because I
Mhm.
can see Dad now
Oh, we used to go
having a
dancing
little
down.
little jig. He,
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't dance, the ordinary dancing, but he used to sort
I mean,
of.
Grandma G used to like a laugh. I mean, she used many a time
Oh,
used to make
yeah.
a laugh, and she'd just be having a drink of tea, and she'd nearly.
Oh, she did. She liked.
Oh, she liked it. A little
Yeah,
bit
she
on
liked.
the joke.
Yeah,
Oh,
she liked parties and things
Oh,
like
yes,
that. She
she
really
did.
did.
Yeah.
Well, they both did, didn't
Yes,
they?
they did,
Really.
yeah.
Mm.
But I'm just saying, my father was a very, very quiet man.
Oh, he
He
was.
was a
Yes,
quiet man.
very. Yes,
He was sort
very.
of noted for it, really.
Mm. that, did you notice the, you know, the porthole that I've got
Yeah.
in my flat? Did you notice that little photograph? That's
No,
my mother and dad.
Well, we might borrow that if we can.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Just take a picture of it.
Mm.
Mm.
Have you got any of your grandparents?
No. Oh,
Pictures of them.
your mum has, because she's got one of Auntie Elsie and with Grandma.
Yes, well, your mum's got. That's the only one I've got.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I've got that. I
Yeah.
don't know where I put it. I put it somewhere safe, and now I can't
I
remember
know,
where it
I'm
is.
saying I've got them
Yes.
all over everywhere, really.
Well, I don't think we knew our grandparents, other than Grandma G, did we? Grandma K. Grandma K and Grandma G.
Grandma G, I think we used to be a little bit frightened of.
Yes, she was very, she was very...
Well, I'm saying we were too young, really, when she
yes,
died.
yeah, that's
really
right, yes.
realise.
Mm.
But,
Used to sort of go and see her on a Sunday, and you'd sit there,
yeah,
you know,
she
sort
was a bit of, I don't know why we were frightened of her, really. But she wasn't like Grandma K, was she?
Grandma
was
K
more
used to...
loving,
Yes.
loving you,
Mm.
more of a
Yes,
grandma.
and she'd sit you on
More like
the
me.
on the draining board. She'd sit
Aw.
you on the draining board, and she'd sing that. What was the song she used to sing?
I can't remember. Help yourself.
What was the
You
song
want to
she
take
used to
the-
sing to us?
Take them and then. You want much about
I'm
you?
good, thank you.
That was on.
No, all right. Oh, she used to sing a lot.
I don't know.
Oh yes, I can see her now.
What do you miss about them those days?
Those days.
Well, there were more family days,
They were,
really, weren't
yes,
they?
they were.
You know, sort of now you sort of.
Yeah.
I
Now
mean,
it's all good.
now
It's all
youngsters, late teenagers, should I say, and early 20s, their night out now doesn't start until going out at 10 o'clock. We were coming home then.
Mm.
Our night out had finished then, and if we went in by the correct time.
And I was a little monkey.
Oh, Hilda, during the war.
Oh my goodness.
We used to go.
How old were you when you? How old were we
I'd
talking?
be, 17,
Mm.
18. How old was I when I joined at 20? And of course all the forces came to stop. There were a lot of
Oh, a lot of
in
forces on the
Stockport.
moor. Mm.
You know Winslow. You know Winslow, don't you? All the RAF were billeted there. And a few of us used to get the train at night to go to the dance. You could always be sure of a partner because there was hardly any girls, you see.
I wouldn't chance it.
And it was the blackout, blackout, and it was very, And we used to belt along to the station and pay for our. It was ridiculous, really.
You
We
and
used to
Margaret
get in there,
Schofield.
yeah. Well, there was a few of them, but Margaret and I,
Yes,
mostly,
yes,
she lived near,
mm.
So you actually went out even though there was a blackout.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know what a blackout is? That was when they had to turn out everything.
Everything.
That's
And
right, all the
black-
windows.
Blackout material on the windows
Oh
and everything.
my goodness.
And we used to go to these dances.
Mind you,
We
Mother
were
and Dad
there
didn't
now.
know. They didn't know you'd gone to Winslow, did they?
I said to Joyce,
What was in Wilmslow at the time then? Party
yeah,
town.
it was a dance. It was at the Rex Cinema, which I think is still there now. And all the airmen used to, we used to have a great time because there was loads of partners, you see. But we could only stay an hour because the train back
Left at a certain time.
At a certain time. So really, it was a waste of time going in a way
Yeah, but for the hour.
for the hour.
And the excitement of going out during
That's
that.
right.
Mm.
But coming back, one particular night, we were in Green Lane, Powerhouse Full Lane,
That's
And yeah,
it,
from Mount
you know,
Road,
that
the
from Mount Road
extension
up to the main,
road.
to Heaton Moor Road, where
Mm.
your grandpa, sort of.
and
Yeah.
of course they're all houses built now, but then it was all fields, bushes and everything. And Margaret and I were coming along when suddenly the sirens went. So we threw ourselves under the hedge.
Mm.
And now I don't know whether, was it Manchester? No, it wouldn't be Manchester. And you know, we put our handbags over our heads, so that would save us from the bomb. And we lying there under the heads like, Doris knew.
I knew. I was in,
And
you know,
they
the
were listening.
Anderson Air Raid
Oh,
shelter.
they hasn't, that's right, the shelter.
And you had a handbag.
We were in there,
on your
and
head.
I was sort of gripping my hand
It's
because
a
I
wonder
knew
I'm
where
alive.
she was. I didn't
It's a wonder
dare
I'm
to-
here, Grandma, isn't it, really?
Oh,
And
dearie
we
me.
were petrified. We lay under those trees. And we were dying to get home because we knew that her parents
Yes.
didn't know well, you know, thought we were in the local dance place. And we lay there, and we often talk about it, Margaret and I. We lay there with a handbag. Can you imagine a handbag, putting it as though that's going to save you if a bomb drops?
Yes, that was the night they had the Big Berthas going, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the
What's the big
what's
one?
Yeah,
no, the cannons. You know, sort of. You know, yes.
Not the Big Berthas with those big airships.
No, the Big Bertha was the biggest of the cannons.
Was it?
I'm sure it was.
And was Manchester Stockport affected? Was it bombed quite a bit?
Oh, yes, they had
Manchester
a,
blitz.
I don't know about. I knew Manchester, but I didn't know Stockport particularly.
Yeah, well, a plane
We had
came
a
down
few, yeah.
in the air. I don't know where it was now. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Yes.
Well,
it's,
some friends that I went to school, the Justice family, they had a bomb right on the house, which was, you know where Auntie Elsa lived?
Mm.
Just round the corner, coming up towards the main road, one of those houses, and they had a direct hit. Do you remember?
Yes, I
On
do.
Justice?
Yeah.
And
So-
oh, it was terrifying.
Because what I find, so even after all this stuff, you'd still go out and do the, you know, the nights out.
What?
It
To
was,
get
worth,
it down.
it was worth it for that one hour.
So I think that's.
To get
But
it
do you know
down.
what I mean, though? I mean, I think that's amazing.
That's so
Right.
much. That's living.
Just
That's
because,
really
you know, I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't think we live in a world where that we don't, we feel threat on a
Well, of course there was a
on more
war
global
on
scale, but
Andrew.
not on like a local.
No.
You know, like in this
No, that's
in this
right.
town,
Yeah.
bombs are dropping.
Mm.
But you know, tonight I'm just going to go out and I'm
Yes, yeah.
The
I think
things
that's
you did,
amazing.
there was a war on Andrew.
amazing.
And the things you did during the war,
Mm.
you would never even
No,
dream
you
of
wouldn't.
doing in
Because
Yeah.
you're in a different, because it's a
Yes.
different,
Absolutely different.
changes your whole
Absolutely,
mindset, I suppose.
Absolutely. But, oh yeah.
I suppose you live for the day, don't you?
Well, I suppose you did really. But I remember one, was it at Windsor? I can't remember. Yes, it must have been. And I left my little evening bag, little handbag thing, you know how
Oh,
you put it
yes,
back
I
again.
remember that incident. Yes.
And I'd left it in this thing.
Mm.
At Windsor.
Yeah, and I got on the train, and this airman, one that we'd been dancing with, knew it was mine and came belting up the station and threw it, and I got it back. He knew that it was mine.
Oh wow!
How would he know
I
that?
don't know, well,
He
probably.
was probably checking you out.
No, he was checking me out on that, but I never saw him after. I don't know. But those are the sort of things you did.
Yes, it's.
But and you couldn't put a torch on if you were out.
Mm.
You didn't dare use a torch
Mm.
because of the light.
Yeah.
You know,
So you spent a lot of time in the dark.
I suppose we didn't use
Yes.
torches. We must have done, wasn't we? I mean, because there were no street lamps.
No,
or anything.
no, everything was turned off because
Yeah.
I mean you had to draw the
If there was a chink in the curtains, the water
oh yes, you used to come
round.
round, used to sort
What
of
a small little.
yes, if that yes. Mm. Oh,
Did
yes,
you
they
ever
had
go
the
through
water.
the air raid shelters in Stockport?
No, I'd like to do that.
But
Oh,
you want to
you
go
should.
through those?
You want to do that?
Because, yes, it is in Northern Stockport.
Yes.
And they've even got the right smells. You know,
Okay.
the atmosphere.
They've
the
recreated
smells.
it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you got, because we took James and William.
Isn't
Did it
it
bring it
obvious-
back to you then? Those smells. Did it bring-
Absolutely.
'cause sometimes smells can bring a lot back, can't they?
Yeah, that's
Mm.
right.
Isn't it opposite the
The Cross.
General Post Office?
Near enough.
Yes,
near enough.
Yes.
But it's well worth going, Andrew. Absolutely.
I'm just going to pause it for a second. I'm just going to check we've got enough tape on the cameras because I know they
Shall
go
I
for an
just make
hour.
another cup of tea?
That sounds like a good idea. Lovely. Charity, can you sit there for a sec? I just want to make sure Grandma is all right in shot. If you could sit right at the back, because sometimes Grandma goes back. That's
Yeah.
it. Well, that's fine. Yeah.
Shall I sit as well in my seat to see what it looks
She's
like?
not in shot in this one.
Is she not?
Oh, just show me.
Well, we've got it on this one.
Oh.
I mean, she sit forward a bit. Yeah, actually, do you know what? I think you should sit forward a
She,
bit. I think
she's
that during
roughly
funny
in the same
moments,
position now where Charity is now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom it out. I'm gonna pull out a bit, and then we can crop in later. Do you know what I mean? Because I just don't want to risk not having any of the.
Yeah.
The train and walked through Manchester to the other railway station. And it was flames all, do you remember him telling
Yes.
us? Every building was lit. I always remember, and he had to go on to, he was, you know, to this office where, Liverpool Road.
Liverpool Road, yes, he was the
That's right.
time clerk.
And he said everywhere was ablaze. Well, you could see it on the television, really. So it was quite, I think that must have been awful, knowing you'd have to walk
yes,
through that.
yeah.
Bad enough looking at those pictures on the television without having to walk through, you know,
With it up either side
with
of
the
you.
either side, all the buildings, I don't think, next to you, but, in, you know, round about. Just things like that. And I remember the following morning after the Blitz, the main road in Stockport was full from the fire engines, from one end of Stockport right through to Manchester. They'd come from all over to help to, you know, put the blaze out, really. Things like that you
Yes,
forget
I know.
until,
You just,
you know, until you think about it, really.
and then, of course, we were called up then.
Yeah.
We,
Are you, do you want some more coffee?
I wouldn't say no, Hilda. Thanks very much.
And then you were called up.
Yes, went into the army. And not until, I mean, the war started, 1930, was it 1939, Hilda, the war?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, 1939. We were called up 1940. 1942 was it, Hilda, we were called up? Did she say yes?
Yeah.
Yes, 1942. And I was called up. I should have gone before actually, but my the office they sort of got me out of it for 6 months. And I was called up, and I'd been in the army. I was still at the training centre for a fortnight, and then Hilda was called up. So there was only a fortnight between us, and we both went. Do you remember, Hilda? We both met up.
I'm happy.
Thank you. And
Right, can I just interrupt you? That's all, that's yours. Which is yours, Andrew?
Did you understand what the responsibility was when you were called up, or was it very confusing? Like
You
what?
had to do.
But you know, were you
You
like
were just
what?
conscripted, you know what?
But were you like what? You know, so what we're doing? What do we
I
need to?
know
What do
you
we
had
need
to go before a committee,
Right,
a selection board.
right.
You
Which
went
is
before a
yours,
selection
Andrew?
board.
Oh, this is yours.
Like an interview to make
Yes,
sure you're
and then they
appropriate.
told you what
And
they
everyone
thought.
has to do this. Everyone has to
Everyone
go.
has to, yes, everyone
So it
had
wasn't.
to do
It was a compulsory thing.
Oh yes, yes. When you were called up, you had a choice of either going on ammunitions,
Yeah.
that's in a factory,
Yeah.
doing ammunitions, the land army, or one of the forces. That was the Air Force, Army, or the Navy.
Mm.
Well, I was deferred for 6 months, but I wanted to go in the land army, and with being deferred, it had
Just ruined your
yes,
chance.
yes, I couldn't. And the only thing they'd got was the Air Force and the Army. The Navy was that was full as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I came to go in the Army. And then Hilda was called up a fortnight later. So we met up. I was at Barham Barracks, and Hilda was at
Barham Barracks. Where's that?
Lancaster.
Right.
Wait a minute, where was I in Barham? I'll ask Hilda when she comes in. We were in 2 different barracks, but we were near enough to sort of meet up just for one night.
Mm.
And instead of sort of going to one of the sort of like the NAFI and sitting chatting and telling each other all about it, we went to the cinema. And it was Bing Crosby And we did nothing but talk, and we got told off from the couple behind us. They sort of.
Because you were
It was
catching up in the
ridiculous,
cinema.
really. We were instead of watching the film, we were sort of talking about the.
What you'd been through. Yeah.
That's right. Were you in Bowham Barracks, Hilda?
Yeah.
Was I in Bowham? What was I in?
Bowham.
What was I in then?
Oh, I
Fancy
don't
it.
know.
God, my memory of what was I in?
I don't
I've got
know.
it at home, you know. I've got it
But
written
all
down.
round us, sat watching this was shh, shh,
People poking us on the back.
and we went like,
Can you imagine though? You'd be annoyed, wouldn't you, if someone
Yeah.
was sort of chatting, you know, and
Yeah.
they'd come to
most
see the
ridiculous
film.
thing for us to even
Absolutely
contemplate
ridiculous,
going,
yes.
Do you remember what you watched?
It was,
Something Crosby film, was it?
What was
It
the
was,
film we
um,
saw? Was it Holiday Inn?
It was either Holiday Inn or White Christmas. I think it might have been Holiday Inn.
I think it was
actually.
Holiday Inn, but
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
think
be
it's-
See,
certain.
it's quite because it's not cinema like cinema nowadays, is it? I suppose it was kind of a bit more of a treat. then.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for you to be talking in the middle of
absolutely.
it,
Absolutely.
I can imagine they'd be
yes.
very frustrated.
Yes.
Munching
Yes.
popcorn.
No, I don't think we had time to do popcorn. We were too busy.
Too busy nattering.
Yes. Oh dearie me. And the things that you sort of had to do in the army, which it was one long grumble when you were in it, but when you come out,
Thank you.
you're thinking of the good times you had while you
That's
were
me,
in.
is it?
And
Yeah,
I know
that's your life.
I was down south. I was in Reigate, and then I was at Luton, and I know we had, you know, you've heard of the doodle bugs that used to come over. Did you know
no,
that?
what's a doodle bug?
Instead of them coming over bombing, they used to send these doodle bugs over. And it was just like a cross travelling in the sky, and we knew exactly when we had to duck. If the engine stopped directly over you, you were okay. If the engine stopped before it got
Then-
over you, well then you sort of
What,
you
is
went
that
for
the thing?
safety.
And what it fell, did it?
Oh,
and that
it
was the bomb.
exploded.
So
yes.
that was the actual
That
thing
was
itself.
Yes, they
So
they
it was
used to
a
call them
flying-
doodle bugs.
So it was a flying machine that when
Yeah.
it just the
Just-
engine cut out and that's it. It was a bomb.
Absolutely, yes.
So if it
And
cut out, oh I see. So if it cut
if-
out over your head, you knew it had a bit of a
That's right.
distance.
Go on. Yes, it was when it cut out before it got to you.
So when
that
we,
you-
so you get how do you get told these things? You know were there like general town meetings and stuff to communicate these?
Well, you
Well,
knew
you just
about
You
it.
hear it,
yes,
hear
you
it,
just
you-
knew, yes.
I
you
guess
just-
that's all you talk
yes.
about.
Because I was at HQ, South Eastern Command HQ,
Right.
and I suppose it got around, you know,
Mm.
sort of when to sort of duck and when to.
So what was your
when you were-
day-to-day job then in the army?
I was shorthand typist, more or less. Yeah, which was, I know when I went for, before the selection board, and they told you know, you had to do different trials really.
Do you remember your shorthand? Can you do a bit of
Oh,
shorthand?
I can do a bit of shorthand.
Oh, wow.
Mm. And they said to me, you know, what did we call it? Oh, the maps.
Maps.
Yes. Mm. Oh, my memory. You know how
Map
you see?
reading.
Hmm?
You mean map reading?
Yeah, it was. Oh, no, I can't remember.
What's
If
that?
you
What
could
are you
come
looking
to me, what they thought I would be good at.
Cartography.
No, it was, you know, a map on the wall,
Yeah.
and you're charting where
Oh, okay.
different things are taking place.
Grandpa would know, wouldn't he?
Oh,
Hit
what was it called?
what
Anyway,
he
it
does,
doesn't
isn't it?
matter. And I said, oh no, I said, I can't do that. I said, I'll probably be sent abroad doing that.
You didn't want to go abroad
Didn't wanna
then?
go.
Well, I was thinking, my mum and dad would go mad if they knew I was going abroad.
My mum and dad will tell me off.
So I said, so
They help
anyway,
in the country and
so I settled off for,
shorthand.
yeah,
Oh, we're going to get you to do a
office.
bit of that later on.
Office.
Going
Oh,
to what?
Oh,
Going to what?
we're going to get doing a bit of shorthand later on. Have
I
on.
remember when I was in Trowbridge, sent down for training. It was
well, you know, when you first joined, you went before, well, everybody
Oh, I
went
had
before a
to.
selection committee.
And then you were picked out to try
What they thought.
various, you know,
Yes,
tests. And I remember them picking 10 of us out for the signals. We had
Yes,
different things that you had to do. And they said, we're sending you to Morecambe, to the where you tested for these things. Oh, great. Seaside.
Oh, lovely.
You know, after the life in
Mm.
Lancaster, you know, the
Seaside sounds
Army
very
and
nice.
PT and all that. And I always remember it was an awful day. We got to Morecambe and we had to go to this building. And how they tested you, different, you know, when you think of da-da-da-da sort of thing, just think of that coming through headphones. It wasn't that, but there were different sounds coming through. And you had to distinguish, not letters. And that's how they picked you out. The more things you got, you know,
I see what you
you
mean,
got
the more
through.
you could
Yeah, that's right.
sense sounds and...
Mm.
But oh, we thought it was great. We wandered around Morecambe after that. I think we bought some rock, you know, for the other girls. It was great. But I remember when we, and then we were sent to Trowbridge after that in Wiltshire. It was a 9-month course thing. And so we got there. We were there for the first Christmas. I don't know where you were for the first Christmas. You were at Luton.
No, I was at Reigate.
Oh, Reigate. And it was great, the first Christmas, really. Although we're in the army,
Yes,
parties and all the huts, we thought, oh, this is great. And that was in the December. And word got round. It was all hush-hush. You couldn't discuss it. I mean, you can discuss it now, obviously, but then you couldn't say what you were training for. You had to sign the Secrets Act, like you do with most things.
Posters everywhere, walls
That's
have
right,
ears.
yeah.
Really?
And
Oh my
you
goodness.
got friendly with quite a few local people. You know, if you went and had a drink somewhere, you got known. And word got around that the whole unit was being posted to the Isle of Man. Well, we had a holiday in 1939 in the Isle of Man, peacetime, just before the war broke out. And it was a heat wave, do you remember?
I do, yes.
Oh, well, I was telling the girls, I said, oh, it's great, great. All the beach and the hotels and everything. Anyway, we were all supposed to, it was a mixed camp. There was blokes, not actually with us, but attached to us. And the whole camp, the men as well, were all moving to the Isle of Man. And we were given notice that we had to parade at midnight, this certain night, with all your kit, which was a kit bag, a knife, fork and a tin mug thing which you had dangling on you thing. And a thing rolled up, I don't know what that would be, something rolled up on your back. And you had to, you know, and then we had to march to the whole lot, the whole unit, to the station.
Ground sheet it would probably
Round
be.
shoot.
Mm.
And all hush hush, walking through Trowbridge and everybody was wearing It was supposed to be such a secret that the whole
Everybody knew.
and everybody knew, and they were all at the doors. It really was. It was too funny for words. And then we got on the train at the station at Trowbridge, and we got off. I think at Fleetwood. I'm not sure. And where we were getting the boat to go to the Isle of Man. It wasn't Liverpool. I'm sure it might have been Fleetwood. And they took us in this great big
Or
room.
Haysham, it could be Haysham.
No, it was Fleetwood.
Oh,
I'm
it was
sure.
Fleetwood.
Mm. And they said, right, there's some breakfast for you. And regardless of what time we would have arrived, it was cold rice pudding. Oh, it was awful. And then we all came out and went to the quayside, and there was this great big Lady of Man. Do you remember the
I
boat that
do.
took you to your holidays? And it was all camouflaged. The boat was, the ship, boat should be. And it was all camouflaged. Oh, well, we thought we were really,
In the,
really in the army. But he'd only done that because everybody was camouflaged, you see. But, and then of course we sailed across to the Isle of Man. Well, I told these girls, it was January, oh, what it was like. Well, you couldn't see them from it was such an awful day. It was foggy and raining, and I was staying at all the hotels along the front, which we'd left it in on that holiday.
And that's right, we were there in the August
That's
as war
right,
broke out
yeah.
in the September.
And but anyway, so of course we got off and then had to march down the promenade.
Because you were billeted in one of the hotels,
right
weren't you,
on the front, yeah.
Mhm.
And oh, we thought this is great, right on the front. But the our part where we were, previous to us going there, it was full of Italian internees, the Italians that had been interned. Well, it was all barbed wire at the front, so the internees wouldn't escape, you see. And, oh, you should have seen inside some of these hotels. They were an absolute disgrace. How the Italians
I'd left
had
it.
left them. Anyway, but that's beside the point. But these Italians were moved further up the promenade, up towards
Uncle.
Villa,
Uncle
Villa
Head.
Marina. And they all had balconies. And at night, a lot of these Italians had come out on the balconies singing. And the most gorgeous voices
Well,
going across the
Wow.
water.
The Italians,
Beautiful.
yes.
But always some great times in there. Man, it was.
Yes, you see, you can talk about all the good times you had. You
Yeah, we
forget all
hated
the
it.
Yeah, all the awful
We
bits.
hated it. We grumbled. Going on night duty again, you know,
And
and
the
trying to
food.
keep your eyes open.
We'd go to the mess, and you had to, queue to, and you were given a plate, and then you moved on. Something was put on your plate, and you moved a bit further. And it was horrible. And sometimes the plate, you'd pick a plate, the plates would be stacked high. You'd take the top one, and there'd be water swimming in, and you'd have to. I won't do it because it's got crumbs on it. You'd tip it up like that, and we said, right, as soon as the orderly officer, they used to have an orderly officer going round, sort of any complaint, and all this. So the very day that the one was on duty when we were there, we said, right, are you ready? So we all queued up, there was about 6 of us, we all said, right. So when we got to the thing, each one sort of got hold of the plate and did that, so that the officer knew what we were doing. We very rarely went in for meals anyway. We used to sort of club together with what money we'd got and what money had been sent from home. We used to club it and go and have breakfast or whatever it was at
Outside the
Yes. Well, there was one day when we were going to marching to the mess. There were about 4 of us, I think. And we were in a line marching, and if an officer was coming towards you, you had to sort of salute naturally. So we said, right, as soon as they get near, it was a man, and it was one that was particularly a good looker, he was really sort of, and we said, right, as soon as they get close to him, we'll sort of give them, and we all saluted together, but the point was, you had to carry your knife, fork and spoon, we didn't have a mug then, we just had the knife and fork and everything. We said, right.
You didn't have a drink.
Well, I can't remember having. No, we didn't have a mug
No.
because we said, right, as soon as we, sort of give them the eye, So all together, as soon as we got quite close to him, we all sort of upped our thing, and each one knocked the knife, fork, and spoon out of the other person's hand.
So there's
Just
this
to sort
clutter of like.
That's right, just
Lovely.
while he passed, you see. Oh, it's too funny for word. And the first time we went out, I'd been in the, I think we'd been there about a week, and if your uniform was being altered for you, you couldn't go out. You couldn't go out in civvies. You had to go in uniform. But anyway, we'd been there a week, and some of the uniforms weren't ready, so we were allowed to go out in civvies. We went to this cafe in Morecambe,
Oh, okay.
What's a
and
civvy? Just a.
Civilian
Civilian.
clothes.
civilian
Yeah,
clothes,
right,
yes.
right.
We went to this this cafe, hotel, I don't know whether it was a cafe probably. We went inside and we had this meal, and we said, right, don't forget, don't pick up the knife and fork when you're leaving, because we were so used to sort of carrying it around, So that caused quite a giggle.
So what was your job? What were you doing?
In the
Signals.
signals,
Morse coding.
yeah. Listening to it.
Mm.
4 night duties in 3 days, and it was hard going.
Oh, I'm sure it was, yes.
Where was it coming from and going to when you were listening? You mean you're listening through the waves, like
Oh,
radio
yeah, well,
waves?
through the radio,
So you would be tuning, and then when you heard something, you.
Well, you had a station each, so you knew what their call sign was. You had to twiddle around.
Right.
And did they come and pick up the as the message came through, dot it,
They had to
dot
put
it,
that down.
you had to sort of,
Yeah.
and did someone come and collect it? And
Oh, yes.
yes.
Yeah, there was a
And then the
civilians
yeah.
in charge of all these
Yeah.
girls, so many in a hut. And they were, I don't know how much a week, because it was their job, but they were absolutely fantastic at Morse. They could read it. I mean, we could read it, perhaps 2 letters you know, they'd send one letter and then the next one you'd read
Yes.
it behind.
Mm.
So explain what Morse code is.
But they would read it.
Yes, well,
A
of course.
sentence,
Yes.
a sentence would go, and they could still remember
Yeah.
because it was their
Mm.
civilian
Yeah.
job.
Mm.
It was very interesting, really. That
But if you had to define what it was, it's basically a series of dots and
Dots and
lines.
dashes.
the dots and dashes represent letters.
that's right. And
Right.
that's the
So like SOS would be...
did
Dard it down.
no.
Well,
S was did it da did it. Well, you know, SOS
Da, da.
did it da did it. Yeah. SOS.
So S is did it.
Did it. Da. Oh, my mind.
well,
That's O is da da da, of course it is. Did it da da da, did it. But the most difficult really, I thought, was the numbers.
Mm.
A lot came with numbers.
yes.
How
And
do you
they
know
were
when one
quite difficult.
How do
Yeah.
you know when one finishes and one the next one begins? Do they leave a gap?
Yeah, they did it mostly in 5-letter blocks.
So you got did it and then
Did it da 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 for about 5 blocks,
Right.
and you did them all in 5 blocks. But towards the end of the war,
Mm.
they were doing it in longhand. You were just writing it down as it came.
But tell them about when you were caught listening to the radio.
Sometimes you were each given an area, say in Germany, or, well it wasn't basically Germany, and you knew the quiet areas where there was nothing happening. You could get on a busy station where you were at it all night.
You didn't dare
Mostly
move it
didn't dare
because
move
something
off
was
it,
happening all the
otherwise you'd miss
time.
it. But if you were on the quiet stations, it was you knew you were in for a night of really not listening. You had to sit there with it, but nothing coming through. But I always remember I was on duty one night and I thought, oh, blow this. So I twiddled the dial and I got the, what was the
Forces.
what was it, the
Oh,
something or other.
yeah.
It was a special programme with Glenn Miller and all the, you know, and I was sat there, I thought, this is great. And quite suddenly there was a bloke and he was horrible. Victor, his name was Victor, no one liked him. And I could see him walking down that and he goes, that's get your headphones off so I quickly because he has a connection.
So
He
you
knew
can
exactly what
see
everyone was
one.
doing.
And he must
yeah.
have found that I was listening to Glenn Miller. And he never said a word, he just went. So I quickly, until I
Changed
got
it.
music. Obviously I wasn't on the VHS, no, but it was
No,
VHS, no that's VHS,
No,
that wasn't
it
it.
already come.
And otherwise I would have been in trouble. If he'd have listened to this.
Yes. Mm.
Oh, so he didn't
Because
catch
he
it?
knew,
Oh, he
because
knew, but
he
he
could
couldn't.
hear it.
Right.
But he'd no proof.
Right.
No proof.
Elder
he-
managed to sort of turn
That's
it
right, you know, he'd sort of check everyone down. And maybe I might have been like this, you see, you don't know. You don't know, do you? You know, sort of.
to automatically when you do, you tap your foot when you hear the
Well,
music.
in the middle of the night, you know.
Everyone else is like do 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 do, and you're like,
Hilda's tapping.
Looking intelligent, but you have one, you know. But,
does everyone do that? Is this just you?
Oh, no,
Is
I
this
think-
where we get our naughty side from?
I
Me
know,
looking
but I
silent.
think one or two of the girls were lied to it. I was just unfortunate for Victor to do this business. But
Oh dear.
but that was just one of the tricks, you know what I mean. But keeping your eyes open, it was awful. Because you'd only just come off night duty. No, day duty. And you'd have about the afternoon off and part of the evening when you had to go on night duty for 8 hours.
Mm.
That all happened in a matter of 3 days, and then you had a day off, you know. Oh, going on this night duty, trying to keep your eyes open.
Well, a lot of them had to be taken, you know, they had to
yes.
come off it, hadn't
So-
they?
Yes, they
Mm.
were. And at one time I had to
I know, I remember,
The
yes.
stress, yes,
Mm,
because
I
a lot of them,
remember.
yeah. And because it just gets you in.
Oh, I'm
gets
sure,
to you in
yes.
time, because
Mm.
you're listening to nothing else but, you know, Morse all the time. But I always remember there was a most peculiar girl. You worked in pairs, and this girl couldn't get to the bottom of her really, she was most odd. And she was my partner for that week. And I suddenly looked round at her, and she dropped her eyes open. She'd broken 2 matches. And she'd got a, I couldn't believe it. You know how you say it in a joke?
Yes, yeah.
Keep
It's
your-
one of those
yeah,
things.
so-
This
You
actually
say that,
happened.
Yes,
Oh,
You've
she's
seen
actually
it.
done it.
You say in the joke, you know, oh, she's popping my eyes out. I couldn't believe it. My mother was round.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
she'd done it for devilment, but she was odd.
Yes,
She was
yes,
odd,
yeah.
odd body. And she was sat there, I thought, man, gosh. But that she's one of the...
Oh dear me.
Do you remember her name?
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I've got a little thing, we all made them. It's upstairs somewhere. You know how you had your polyphoto taken?
Oh yes, yes.
You could go and have
everybody.
your polyphoto taken and they'd take about 24 and you'd be, you know, different
These
positions.
machines that you sort of
Machine, like you know, your passport thing.
Yeah.
But you could sit there and you'd go up, down, down, and you got, when it came through, you'd got 24 and you picked the best out, obviously, you know, you could have them.
Have you
in
got any
large.
of those still?
Oh yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And we all made a little book thing and exchanged them, and I've got mine still upstairs. And it's got the name, only the Christian name. And quite often I have it, when I come across it, I don't know where it is now, it's in one of the drawers somewhere. But I'm used to exchange them, you know, for
Yeah, well,
times,
I did, but we didn't do it to sort of to that extent. I've perhaps got the, I know I've still got one of Winnie, Connie.
But
I may have 5, perhaps, 5 or 6.
when we were in
Oh,
the
Rennie,
Isle
of
of Man
course.
talking about civvies, you know, when civilians, you weren't allowed, of course, to wear civilians. Well, when we were in the hotels in the Isle of Man, there was a back way of getting into the hotel. I presume in peacetime, it was where the servants,
Yes.
the cooks and that went that way. And there was one girl caught one night, she was going out with one of the sergeants actually, and she was caught creeping in, but she shouldn't have, and she had a fur coat on. She'd got a civilian, a civilian on, plus a fur coat. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know whether she went out of the army, I don't know, but there was something funny about it, yeah.
I know there was one night when we were at Luton, there was some dance or something in the town centre, and we decided to go, and we said, oh, let's go in civvies. And I think there were 3 of us. There was Rennie, myself, oh, and probably Winnie. And we dressed up in civvies, but then we put our greatcoats over the top. Anyway, luckily we didn't get found out, but we could have been put on a charge if we'd have been found
Yes,
out.
it was quite, it was quite
And you weren't
serious.
allowed to sort of go out without your
Yes.
Your hat.
and your cap. I know we've been into London when I was stationed at Luton and at Reigate. We used to go on our day off into London, and we'd been. I know it was that Ivy Benson.
Oh yeah.
Ivy Benson and her women's. She had a band. I think. Have you heard of Ivy Benson?
I haven't heard of
it.
I was
Yes.
looking into it.
Ivy
Yeah, we'll
Benson's
listen to
girl,
that. Yes.
Ivy Benson's girl band.
That's right, yes, and they were paying at this, we went there, and of course we only had passes, you're only allowed a pass up until 11:59, you had to be in one minute before midnight, and we left it till the very last minute to get the tube, and I'd got my greatcoat on, well, the 3 of us got our greatcoats on, our hat in our hand, dashing to the tube station, got to the tube station, just about to get on the train because it was coming in, and we were stopped by one of the MPs, and she made us stand there, put our greatcoats on properly, fasten it up. Anyway, she did. No, she didn't actually. Put our hat on. When we put our hat on, of course, we used to take our badge out because otherwise, you know, sort of they'd come out or people would take them. Put the hat on, and she's saying, "Put your badge on." Yeah, so we had to stand there, put the badge on, then put the hat back on, and then we were allowed to get on the train. But we could have been reported, and
Oh, you're lucky not to, yeah.
but we got back in time to sort of get in before 11:59. We knew if we caught that, we knew which tube to get to make us get back for that certain time. Oh,
You were
the
a
things
naughty
you
one.
used to, oh yes, the things
You
you
were
used to get
naughty.
up to. But I must
I'm
admit,
shocked.
we were a little bit, I mean, I wasn't as quite a daredevil as your gran.
Well, it wasn't really, it was just that
Yes.
You have to do
most
something.
people in the
Well,
family-
Yes.
you're talking about over
You
quite
were
a long
quiet.
time as well,
You were
though.
quiet.
I
I
think
was
you'd be
one
the
of the
same,
average.
Charity, I'm
I
sure
mean,
you
they
would.
all
Yes,
did,
yes, that's right, yes.
Then most of them did things that naughty things that I did.
I know
One
one.
copied the
Don't
other.
try and justify it, Grandma.
I'm not.
You're
I
naughty.
know. I admit I
You're
did,
naughty.
but I did things I shouldn't have done.
I know we were sort of billeted
That's the
in
only
a-
way you can stay sane now, isn't
That's
it?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When we were at
Have a good time,
Reigate,
that's
we were
what I
billeted
said.
in a
Yeah.
super house. Oh, it was lovely. And you used to have a supply of milk so that everybody could have a cuppa before they went to bed. And this particular night, I can't remember how many now, they sort of said, oh, let's have another cuppa. And they used practically all the milk. So what they did for the people that were coming in, that had been out, for the evening, they watered the milk down. And Winnie and I often, in nearly all our letters or conversations we have on the phone, we nearly always come up with, do you remember the milk situation?
One of the things that we always, like Mabel, she was
Yes.
on the man. It was when we hadn't been in the Isle of Man very long, and we were right on the very, the hotels, any hotel in the seaside place were quite high. And we were on the top floor, and our storeroom was in the ground, in the basement, I should say. I mean, you've heard this story, but I don't know whether you have, Andrew. And to get a new pair of tights, or a tie even, or a pair of gloves or anything, it was blue murder, you could not, unless it was
Yeah.
absolutely threadbare.
Well, they weren't tights, they were stockings, weren't
Stockings,
they?
that's
Cash-
right.
Lyle.
And you couldn't until they were absolutely threadbare. You couldn't get anything, could you? From
No,
the stores.
replaced.
Replaced. And I remember we all were having a really good time in one of the bedrooms. I think it was about 3 or 4 in one bedroom. So we decided this night, our storeroom was down below in this basement thing. So we all sat there and we said, what about the woman, the girl, the
NCO.
girl, the girl, she wasn't an NCO, I don't think, in charge of the,
You know what NCO is, don't
I
you?
don't know.
Non-commissioned officer.
Oh, right.
like with a stripe. I had one stripe.
Did you?
I've got a photograph of one stripe.
We're gonna have
Yes, I'm very pleased with my one stripe like this. And only because I couldn't give it to anybody else, it all didn't want nothing. Anyway, so we decided, this girl, whoever she was off duty. So we said, what about going down and each getting one article of clothing from the storeroom? And we were right on the top thing, so we all, very daredevil, we all crept down these stairs and got there. And I think one person got a pair of gloves, another got a tie, something and nothing. It wasn't like a jacket or a skirt or...
Just to be...
it was just bits of nothing, really.
Because you were limited, you sort
Because
of
you were
wanted
limited.
to...
And they were all laid out, you see, in the storeroom. And we all picked something up. And we all went back. And we were so petrified. We sat on that bed. And we said, they're going to find out we've got those. We were shaking, and believe it or not, we all trailed back and we couldn't go back. We did. We all trailed back because we went through it all. We thought, now, they're going to check on how many ties we've got. Somehow, it really got to us, and we all trailed down again, and we all put them back. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And we often used to laugh about it. 6 months after we wouldn't have done that, we'd have got a whole blooming uniform. We were so used to it. But we were quite new then, you see, and we really didn't know the
Slightly
ropes.
cautious.
Hmm?
Slightly cautious at that
Yeah.
point.
But,
I'm just going to go and check on cameras, so if we can just pause for a second.
yeah. Do you want another
It's
drink? or
funny
anything?
they,
I'm alright, thank you.
Funny the things that...
You forget
keep...
all sorts
Yes,
of things.
one thing reminds you of another,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yeah, you forget all sorts of things, really. Of course, it's a long time ago, 60 years ago, isn't it? Has that been
running?
all this time?
Yeah.
And you're not rubbed at all? There every night.
We're on again.
And there was even a Red Cross thing,
Yeah,
didn't
when
there?
I was in the Red Cross, we used to do duty in the
Yeah, have you
before I
been
was
through
called
the
up.
Chester Have you been through them?
Not those.
Well,
No,
they've
I
been-
was, the wreck, the wreck.
Yeah.
Well, there's an entrance.
Oh, is there?
Oh, there was. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably been built
Well,
up.
there's,
Well, we used to go in there, and we were on
there's
duty
even
in
kept the
there.
Red Cross, where they used to deal with the Red Cross
Mm.
in the tunnels.
Yeah.
Very realistic, yeah, very.
Yes, I.
Yes, Yes, it's well worth
I
going in.
remember dropping my that little. Do you remember that little gold watch I had for my 21st? It was one of the tiniest faces. Oh, it was lovely. And I dropped it in the.
Lost it?
No, I dropped it, but of course it was on like concrete floors, and I had to take it back then to Hayes. Do you remember in Manchester?
Oh, yeah,
That's where I.
Why were you allowed to wear civilian clothes when you went out during the war?
You weren't supposed to really, but after a
Only when
while-
you were on leave. When you were on leave, you could.
Oh,
wear
on
it.
leave, when you were on leave.
But
Yeah,
when you were sort of
but when
on
you
duty,
were on duty.
and all the time, even if you know
Yeah.
sort of while you were.
If you had
It
a
was
day
only
off.
it was only your days off and you got your leave that you were allowed to wear
Yeah,
civvies,
but on
really.
days
wasn't it?
off, I don't think you're supposed to really.
Why?
Well, if you went away from where you,
Oh,
if you
when you
went
went away
home,
from
if you
that,
went,
sorry,
like
you
I
went
used to go to
home.
Rennie's and we used to
Oh
sort
yes,
of,
you could
yeah.
wear them then. But the whole time you were in the barracks, I should say, or whatever. Yes, you weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to.
And if they saw you, you were wearing that.
Oh,
If you were, yes, an MP, you know,
Yeah.
What's an MP?
an MP, military police. You used to have women MPs and the men MPs.
some of them are
Oh,
shocking.
they are really used to.
Shocking, some of them. Some of the officers were too.
What did they do?
Oh, they were real tough
Bullies.
nosed.
Were they bullies?
Yeah, I always remember
Did they have a
3 weeks at Lancaster. You know, you
That's
do
right,
this
the training,
You
yeah.
go for training for 3 weeks before you're sent to test for certain jobs. And the officer that we had, oh, she was a little madam. She was only small and dumpy. She had ginger hair. She was horrible.
Do you remember her name?
No, I don't. Not after all this time. I couldn't tell you. And they had, we were in these Nissen huts. Is it filming on it, honestly, Andrew?
I knew you'd get it. You went through all the A's
No,
and I'm the
no,
last
no.
on the A
It's
list.
called the Allen
Right.
yesterday. Is it filming? No.
It is, Stan. It's filming.
Is it filming
Yeah.
now? No.
Yes, Doris. Elsie.
I get Alan sat there yesterday and I
Margaret.
kept saying Andrew and
Jean.
Alice doing.
Margaret.
But in this hut where we were, to start off with, like a Nissen hut in beds all outside, and all round, like the no sort of central heating now, like we have now. There were like huge pipes all the way around the room. And they used to have a room which they called the drying room, so you could wash bits of things through. And everybody put them in this one room to dry. You weren't allowed to use these pipe things, which were hot because it was the heating. And I always remember it was during the evening, and of course all the officers had done the rounds and everything, and I thought, right. So I'd done a few smalls in the wash, but you know, like you wash smalls every day, and I thought, blow it.
You know
So I
what
stood
smalls
up.
is, don't you?
Bras and
Oh,
undies.
yeah. So
I know what some things are.
So
I was thinking for the camera, you know, that's why I've been asking what's this, what's that, what's
Yeah.
Morse code.
So I thought,
No, you
right,
should
I'm
have.
not going to
Got
the
some
drying
sense
room
in
with
that,
these
hasn't
bits. So I'm stood on the bed, and I'm like this, over this pipe, throwing this on. And I could hear this voice. You know how something tells you that someone's shouting, but you don't bother to take much notice of it. And suddenly, I turned around and I could hear this great big voice saying, "The audacity of it!" And she was talking to me. I didn't know, and I'm still putting these things. And she must have been saying this for quite a while. And I just carried on. And then quite suddenly
You
I
realised that it
was
was
me.
you she was, yeah.
Well, of course I had to take them down, obviously. I couldn't leave them up there. And all I heard was this booming voice. And she said, "The audacity of it." I'll never forget it. I can hear her voice now. That was the last time I did that. I always used the drawing room after that. But, oh no, it was...
So what, after the war, then there were rations and all that kind of malarkey?
well, they were
Apparently,
on
because
for
I
a
found out
while.
yesterday
they
the
were,
rations went on for like
yes.
10,
Yeah,
10
they were.
years.
I remember when the sweet ration went off.
Oh, yes.
You remember that was on for quite a while after the war.
When you were in the army, you were given a ration, you know, sort of, a sweet ration, a book with coupons in, and you could take them to the NAFE, and they used to say you were allowed so many, you know. But some of the Oh, you want
Like boiled sweets, you mean like proper sweets, like candies?
Yes, yes, or bars of chocolate.
The naffy girls.
The naffy, yes. And there was different, what do
They
they
call
call
them naffy girls, weren't they?
No, I meant the different, oh,
Sweets,
no,
chocolate.
where you could go and get a cup of tea. What did they call them?
I only think of them as
No,
naffy.
no, it wasn't a naffy. They used to sort of, I know, we used to have one in Lesbon Road.
What, like a place you go to?
Yes, it's voluntary, you know, the workers, you know, that make
Pop-in.
the tea.
Is it a pop-in?
It was like a pop-in.
Mm.
Oh, there used to be a name for them.
Oh.
The canteen, they used to
Oh,
call
the
them the
canteens,
canteens,
that's
that's right. And word used to get around, they've got chocolate at Lesbon Road, so everybody would go to Lesbon Road, because you didn't use your coupon there, you see, they were sort of, and then they've got them a so-and-so, and
Everyone would go.
Well,
Following the trail.
Oh,
in the Isle of Man. Have you ever been to the Isle of Man,
No.
Andrew?
We should go.
Yeah. Well, there's a place called the Villa Marina, and it's a dance place really. It's a lovely place. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
Valley
before the
Marina,
war.
yes.
And the forces hadn't taken it over during the war, but you know it was still going. I don't know whether they had dances there or what. I don't know. But they had every so often they had chocolate off the ration.
That's right, yes.
And word would go through the camp. Villa Marina had got chocolate off the ration, but you were rushing to it. You couldn't sort of have what you
yes.
wanted. Well, the queue, I think, was right down the promenade. It went, you know, down, and you could go, and it was wonderful to get a block of chocolate without having to get a coupon.
Yeah, oh I know,
But it was only
yes.
every so often, maybe perhaps once a month or something, you know. But yes, and
But
then
they'd sold out like that because word
Oh,
got
yeah.
around and everybody, so-and-so they've got, go to, and there you were telling everybody as you were sort of coming away from the canteen.
Chocolate,
you know,
this
they've
way,
got
come on.
chocolate.
Oh, that's funny.
Dearie me,
It's crazy.
yes.
So you've seen a
I
lot of
wouldn't
changes, haven't you,
like
really?
to,
Oh,
I wouldn't
definitely,
really like
yeah.
to have missed it.
No, I think it just,
I don't
you know,
think
it's,
I would
yeah.
like to have
When you
missed
think
it.
of what,
Well, that kind of makes you who you are today, I suppose. doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know we grumble from morning till night about something. There was always somebody.
oh, it was one long grumble,
It
wasn't
was.
it, when you were in, but
But I wouldn't like
you
to
just,
have
no,
not
you
done
just
it.
think of the
Yeah.
good times you
Yeah,
were.
you do.
I mean, when you think, when we came out of the army, sort of going out, we used to go to the cinema. But you were home in the house and probably having your supper at 10:30. Whereas nowadays, you see, and how it's sort of
Got less and
snowballed
later.
from then on, you know,
Well,
it's
when you
just,
think of
yes.
the number of cinemas, there's hardly any cinemas
No,
now in Stockport.
no.
Well, there were
Used to
more
be.
cinemas and stuff.
Oh, there was a cinema on every corner in
Yes,
Stockport.
there was the plaza,
Princess.
that's still
Remember
going.
the Princess
The
and
Princess
the Super?
and the Super.
Cinema.
The Davenport.
The Carlton
Palladium.
on Wellington Road,
Yeah, the Palladium.
the
They've all
Palladium,
gone now, they're all been knocked down. The Don. You
the
remember
Don, yes, on Bramhall Lane.
Oh yes, they must
So
have
you
been.
saw a lot of cinema, did you? So you lived
Yes.
this cinema a lot.
Well, that was all you could do because you'd no television.
Who was
That
your
Well, you used
favourite-
to go about twice a week, once in the week, and then
So who were
Saturday if
your
you weren't
idols
going
then?
to a
Who were your...
Oh,
who was your favourite film star?
Robert Taylor. Do you remember Robert Taylor?
Oh, right,
The
Robert.
Magnificent
yours, was he?
Obsession
That was on
on
this
Clark
week.
Gable,
That's
not
on
Clark
this week.
Gable.
Magnificent
Harry Grant.
Obsession's on this week. I was it on
Ah,
this week?
but what
It's
is it?
not-
It's not
no.
Robert
Was it this
Taylor.
week or last
Who was yours?
Yes, I think it was last
I
week.
can't remember. Andrew.
What about in music? Was there a singer that you...
Not really, I don't think. I really don't.
No.
I can't pinpoint
No.
anyone that, you know, I could say,
But Robert Taylor, he was your...
Oh, I
your man.
thought Robert Taylor, and then of course later on it was Cary Grant.
Purely for their acting.
And looks. And looks.
Oh, wonderful.
Man, he died quite young, didn't he, Robert Taylor?
Yeah,
I
he
always remember we'd gone to Digangway, you, Stan, and we stayed on the boat for one night, I think it was, and it was while we were there that Robert Taylor died, yes.
You know who died yesterday? You might have seen him.
Oh,
Ivy Tilsley.
Yes, I heard it on the news.
You know after
What,
coronation?
the one with the lips?
Yeah.
When you had
Yes,
her lips pumped up?
yes, that's right, yes.
She died on
Did she?
Friday.
Mm,
Yeah.
Lynn Perry,
75, I think she was.
Was she?
74.
Because she kind of went off the rails in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
didn't
she
of course,
did.
I think she got the axe from that show because of the
Oh,
lips.
she,
and the
yes,
out here.
yeah. Now, didn't she have a brother? Didn't she have a brother that was a comedian?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought
Brown.
it was
Dougie
her.
Brown.
Dougie Brown, that's right.
Dougie
yes.
Brown, yeah.
Just to let you know, Charity, we've got 20
Yeah.
minutes till the tapes run out and then we'll go to Grandpa's. That's
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
You want another drink, Andrew?
I'm fine,
You
thank
sure do
you.
want
Yeah, we'll
another
probably
drink,
get one at
yeah.
Grandpa's, yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I'll tell you what I do think's awful. This Morecambe Bay.
Oh,
the,
I,
cottles.
yes.
the cottle
Oh, I
pickers,
think it's
it's
terrible.
dreadful.
Terrible, yes.
There was one particular picture on the television, and it showed you in the middle of the water, and there was a young married couple, and he said to her, "We're in water, and there's no ground." They were obviously drowned.
Yes.
This was day before them, too. And I thought, I just can't imagine in the pitch black. And quite suddenly you stood there.
And there's nothing
and
at the
there's
bottom
nothing
of
there,
you.
There's no land. There's nothing at the bottom.
Because it was sort of it's one of
Oh.
those bays where it's you're deep and then it goes
That's
shallow and
right.
it goes deep
Yeah.
again,
Yeah,
you know.
But that was
Oh, it
dreadful.
must
I
have.
mean,
Oh,
there was
I
nearly
thought it was
30,
terrible
nearly
there.
30 people, I think. And that was all done illegally.
It was, yes.
That
The
was all done
illegal
illegally.
immigrants, yes.
But,
They'd all come over to sort of
That's
make
right.
money to give a better life over in
but
China.
That's right. But now we
terrible.
get some, there's some funny things, there is. But
So talk to us about, what about Auntie Margaret and
Yeah,
Mum
the
and stuff like,
girls.
what were they like when they were young?
very good, really.
Because apparently you didn't know that you were having twins.
No, I didn't. They weren't supposed to be born until November.
Mm.
They were born the end of September.
Because twins often, that's the way with twins,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes. Did you see that programme, anyone, the other night? And it was called The Triplets. Did you see it, Doris?
I'm
It
just
was,
trying to think, it rings a bell there.
Robert Walker, you know, the doctor. Is it Walker? No, Robert Winston. There's a black moustache, the doctor. And I was fiddling about doing something, and there was nothing much on, and you know how you flick about. And then I saw this woman with 3 little babies, and I thought, oh, I'll watch this. And of course I got really into it, I watched all of it. And it was very, very good, and it was this family. And I think they had 5 children. And then she suddenly produces triplets. Well, I thought of Mandy actually, you know, with one. You know, it's
So she
like,
coped with 3.
how could she cope with 2?
Mm.
But this poor woman, she had these 3 little babies. I thought of Margaret and Jean actually when they were
Yeah,
being fed.
I've not seen.
It was very, very good,
Mm.
because I don't watch things
No.
like that usually. And she had, they had to move to a bigger house obviously. But she had these 3 little tiny babies. She gave one a bottle, and then the other 2 were propped up with something.
To hold the
To hold
bottle,
the
yes.
And you know these things you put a baby in and you sort of go like this.
That's right,
you know,
rocking
they all
them.
have to rock them. For a time they had to sleep in those because they'd no cots. She didn't know she was having kittens or
Oh
something.
dear.
Or did she know? I can't remember. Because I know they weren't prepared for them. There's no cots or anything. Well, I thought, cool. And then eventually, I would say perhaps they might have been 3 or 6 months old. They were all in a cot each. But one of the sisters was in the same room, you know. And one started crying and woke the other 2 up. And it brought it all back
yes,
to Margaret and Jean because it was always your mum that cried. Always your mum that cried. And Margaret would lie there and be giggling, gurgling, you know. And your mum was the crier, but for 12 months. Of course she was the smallest, she was only 4.5 pounds. But for 12 months she was like that. And then after 12 months
She
she
didn't
changed,
know you
she was
had
like
her.
that, didn't know you had it. It's amazing,
Yes.
the difference.
What was Alan like?
Very good.
Mm.
He was a good baby. Because he was so dependable at sleeping, I'm talking about now. 6 o'clock on the dot, I would take him upstairs to bed, to his cot. And at 2 minutes past 6 he'd be absolutely dead to the world. Every night. No problem at all. You know, some
Yeah.
you have to lie with them. I mean, every child's different, of course. No, they were all good. It was just that your mum was, with her being the smallest, she was that little bit more frail.
Mm.
And when she was born, she was yellow. Not yellow, a bit crinkly. Margaret was pink, smooth as anything. You remember?
Not really,
Don't
no.
you?
No.
Margaret was pink, very smooth.
I would have to have the yellow, Mum, wouldn't I?
No, not yellow. I wouldn't say yellow as such, but more crinkly.
Mm.
Well, of course that's all, and naturally. But after 12 months, yeah, she altered completely.
What?
So really it was Jean that brought Margaret up, then,
And
really.
Jean was born in the cowl. Is it?
Yeah.
How did you spell it? C-O-W-L.
L.
What's
And
it
No.
called?
if you're born in a cowl,
It's supposed
It
to
says
be
that
very,
you'll
very
never-
lucky.
it's that they say, if you're born in a cowl, you'll never drown. You'll never drown. And the doctor that I had, because it was Grandma Massey, yeah, your great-grandma Massey would be.
Yes.
Yeah, great-grandma Massey. She was quite annoyed with it because she said the doctor's taken that. The doctor shouldn't have taken that, I should have had that. Or your mum should have
I'm
had
not
that.
really sure what it is.
Well, it's like a,
It's like
it's a skin, I suppose.
yes, it's,
Skin,
the,
right.
it's in a, yeah.
That's how, I don't know.
Sailors go
I've
mad
never-
for one because
Right.
they'll never drown.
I've never
Right.
even heard of them. I've never even heard of them.
Well, it was Mrs. Massey that
That's right.
really told us
Yeah.
about this.
And she said, well, it was a German doctor, he was horrible. Do you remember
Dr.
Wiseman?
Wiseman.
We used to know
Wiseman.
Wiseman. And he'd taken it, yeah. But they were very good. They were very good,
What
really.
would he have done with it?
I don't know, but he took it because there was nobody else. There was a midwife.
You would never have
Yeah.
known to
No, we
want
wouldn't
it,
have
would you?
known.
I
was it,
wouldn't
you
know.
know.
I think you're more worried about what you're going to do with 2 kids.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That you
I
wouldn't.
mean, you
Yeah,
wouldn't,
you wouldn't even think about it.
That's right.
That must have been quite a shock, though.
It was. And the
Expecting
only way
one and
I
having 2.
knew-
How did you cope with that?
The only way I knew was
Through Grandma Massey.
no, I meant to say there
Oh.
were 2. I heard the 2 cries, and I just said to the
Goodness,
doctor, "Oh,
last
2."
minute.
Yeah, and he said, "Yeah." I didn't know.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And they'd all got the pram, and well, it wasn't at your house, it was at Grandma
Pram.
Massey's, wasn't it? The
So,
pram.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah,
had
it
to
was
get.
at Longfield Road actually. It
Oh,
was
I thought
it was in that different room, yeah.
Mm.
But your mum was only £4.5. Margaret was 6, I think. And until they got a certain weight, we couldn't touch them with water. We couldn't bath them.
Mm.
We had to wash them in olive oil. And they couldn't wear clothes. We had to make little hats of cotton wool. Clothing,
Oh.
all cotton wool. And they were like that for about 3 months.
Have you got
I think.
pictures of them in there?
No, not in that, no.
Yeah.
But, until they got a certain,
Mm.
and then of course your mum pumped the weight on. You've seen the pictures of when they were,
But they got the pram, so they had to start again. They had to, the pram had to
Change.
go back, and they got a silver cross. Do you remember? It was
I
cream.
remember
Oh, it was
your
gorgeous.
great-grandma Massey bought us the pram because it was just after the war and you couldn't get them. They were so scarce and they were
Yes.
very, very utility.
Mm.
And the one she got, it was gorgeous, cream, but it had a black shiny hood. Whatever it was made of, I don't know, but it was made of what they made them of after the war. And I was quite upset this pram having to go back, but it was changed to a double one, which was superior.
Oh, it was absolutely
And it
gorgeous.
was ivory, and it had got mohair hoods, because it was just,
Yes, the new.
they were just getting going like the manufacturers, you see.
I remember taking them out, walking along Eaton Moor Road. It was the first time had been allowed to take them, and different ones kept stopping and saying, "Come!" Oh, I said yes. I was so proud because twins were sort of quite,
Although
you
at
did.
that
Quite a
time
thing.
it was
Yes.
amazing. Do you remember there was like a craze of them?
Well, they say about every 7 years. There's
yeah, and there was
Every
every other
seventh
road.
year.
Every other road there seemed to be twins. Do you remember those in Darley Street?
yeah, that's right. Yes.
And then there was those 2 further down Thornfield Road, a boy and a girl, and the boy got killed.
That's right.
on
I
a
remember.
bicycle.
Yes. Mm.
Because I know when they all started school together, I've forgotten their name now, David and Diane, that's right. And they came to Margaret and Jean's birthday party. When they were about 5 or 6 from the little primary school. And then shortly after that, the boy, David, had been to the Wilcox, you know, the
Oh
sweet
yes,
shop,
the sweet shop next to the
and
Savoy.
he came back on his bicycle, and of course he was carrying a bottle of lemonade or something, and he got killed right outside the court at the corner of
yes.
Green Lane. I don't know whether you perhaps know it or not. Near where your mum worked, in the hairdresser. And shortly after that moved, and I don't blame them because I mean
Yes.
that's fun. But there was and the Baird twins, do you remember the
Yes,
Baird twins? They were absolutely identical, you couldn't tell one from the other. Just a spate, they seemed to be, I don't know, a lot of them born just about that time. You know, and then you don't hear of twins very often, do you really? But,
What was it like having them leave home on the same day? Your girls?
well,
When they were married.
when they were married, well, emotional obviously. You know, I mean it's an emotional one, I
Oh,
think.
it was quite an affair, wasn't it?
Had to
Yes.
stop
Oh,
all
yes.
the
On
traffic
Heaton Moor, at St Paul's.
Because it was a double wedding.
It was a double wedding, yes.
They had-
And even outside the newsagents, you know how they have these posters, you know, the
advertising the news.
advertising the different new. Even on there, when they got engaged, there was even an
Yeah.
announcement on one of
So-
those.
Oh,
And then when they
wow.
got married, it says Heaton Moor twins. You getting, you know, sort of.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's lovely though, it's just such a nice story.
I think the thing was, with your mum being a hairdresser, she was very well known in
Mm.
Heaton
Yeah.
Moor. Well, we all were because we'd all lived in Heaton Moor. And I think particularly with your mum being a hairdresser, everybody knew, you know, because she was a very good
Yes.
hairdresser. Well, still is, I think.
And when they got engaged, it was in the
And the
Advertise in the Express.
Express.
I know I can see Margaret now with her ring.
That's right.
Margaret got engaged on the phone, didn't
Yes,
she?
yeah. But
Because
when they
Peter
got
was
married,
over in Canada.
yeah, when they got married, it was bitterly cold. We had ice and snow for weeks and weeks. But outside the church, you couldn't tell it had been snowing. They'd cleared the church so much that on the photographs you couldn't tell it was a snowy day.
Except on the
Except
grass,
on the
which
grass,
nobody, you know, sort of where you didn't walk.
But when the church was absolutely full to capacity, because you there 3 families, you know, with 2 getting married, there was like 3 lots of families
yeah.
there. And of course St Paul's is quite a big church, and even what do you call these, not balcony things, it was a thing that sort of went up at the back of the church, like and even that was full, you know, full of people. And they had the choir, all these little boys, they walked first, singing this particular hymn, you know. Yeah, it was a lovely
It was a lovely
It was
occasion.
a lovely day.
And it was at the Dean Water, not the
Yeah.
Dean Water.
The Pinewood.
Pinewood.
But it wasn't like it is now, the Pinewood, it was very different.
So who was the mischievous one out of the 3?
I think your mum was the quieter one. I think Margaret was the
Difficult to say, really.
it is really,
isn't it?
but Margaret was more Gina'd follow, you know. Margaret was more of a leader, I would say.
Well, I always remember you must have gone into hospital and we had the twins. And you must have gone in for something or other. And we had the twins either for a couple of nights or something like that. And I always remember Jean was crying, so Dad got her, you know, sort of he came downstairs with her, propped her up on the settee, and all her toys were all around, and she'd pick one at a time and throw it like that. And as Dad picked it up, she'd throw another one down. And when she was in a high chair, she'd have the toys on the little table thing, and she'd get hold of one and she'd drop it. But before she dropped it, she was doing that, ready for the I can see her now, with ready for the noise, you know, she was screwing her face up before she heard the noise.
Wasn't a bit of trouble really,
No.
to either of them,
No.
or Alan either. I think really I was very lucky when you compared them to other people, you know, and they had the problems that some people had. But I think your mum was the quietest of the 3. Well, I think so anyway. I wouldn't say Margaret was a tomboy, but she was a little bit more outgoing, I think, than Jean, your mum. But then again, they're all different in their own way, aren't they? I mean,
course.
You can't sort of,
Yeah, you can't categorise.
not really, because what one had the other,
Mm.
you know, didn't have.
What about the grandkids? You must have been well pleased when they started coming along.
Oh, I knew that.
Great grandkids
Oh,
now.
huh?
And great grandkids now.
Great
Yeah.
grand. And he says, Oliver says, grandma.
Great Ma.
Great
ma.
Great Ma.
Great
You're
Ma.
great Ma.
You're great Ma. Great
He
Ma.
says, great ma. But he calls you mum grandma.
Oh yes,
does he?
but he will
I
not
bet
say.
Mum loves that.
He won't say granddad, and your mum tried to sort of, last Tuesday she said, I've been, trying to get him to say granddad, and he will not. And I don't know what he says for granddad, but he knows what, sort of, what he's saying, and then Chris knows what he means. But it was funny on Tuesday. Chris was going down to London, but he wasn't going till early afternoon, so he stayed and had his lunch with us. But he was upstairs getting everything ready for him going down to London. And Jean called, she said, Chris, we're ready. And he didn't come down straight away. And then all of a sudden a little voice said, Chris, we're ready. Well, we couldn't do anything for laughing. Jean and I just looked at it, we just could not believe it. The way he sort of said, Chris, we're ready.
I think Simon's quite pleased that Oliver's managed to come out of his shell.
Yeah, because he was a little bit quiet, and now
He was
he's.
very quiet, and he wouldn't. I remember one
He was
time.
shy, wasn't he, Ben?
Oh, and I remember it must be 12 months ago. Nick arrived with Jessica, and now they only opened the door and he started crying because they were strange. He didn't know them. That was the type of child he was, and
Yeah.
I think Simon was getting quite worried. Yeah, because you wouldn't go
Yeah.
to anyone.
Mm.
But now,
You can't stop him.
Oh no, he's lovely. Yeah, he stands there waiting to give you a kiss. He's like this, waiting to give you a
Yes,
kiss.
he's
Yeah, it's
funny.
lovely. You'll see a big difference in him. Yeah, you will. But,
I'll get him to sort of do his ballet dance.
Oh my
He does
god.
this, and he's on his toes.
Oh my goodness.
oh, and then he
Oh, we'll
does
see
the
that.
disco.
Oh,
And his leg
and
goes
it's one
on.
leg that wiggles like
I've
that.
seen
Oh,
that.
it's
I've
too,
I've seen
it's
that
too
one.
funny for words, it really is.
Yeah,
But now, each time he hears music, you know that birthday card that
Oh yes, it's sent to your dad.
he sent to your dad, that's
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
It's got music playing, and when you open, when you open it, it starts playing. So of course he starts
He starts doing the jig.
automatically now, yes.
Right, we need to
Too
call it a
funny.
day,
He's
because we've got
very,
quite a lot to do.
he's a very nice, very lovable child.
Oh, he is, yeah.
And I'm glad he's like that now for Simon's sake, because, I mean, you were all lovable.
Yeah.
Your mum was very lovely.
Well, of course you want some. You want a kid that's,
Can adapt to
Yeah,
anybody.
of course,
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
mm.
yeah.
And
You want him to be happy and
you
not
see
worry
him
about
now, your
things.
mum will sit in for them,
Mm.
and even if he wakes up, he knows your mum, so, because I mean, at one time I thought, oh, how's he going to go on when he goes to school? Because, I mean,
Yeah, that was a worry.
it's a worry. But anyway, he's all right. He's a smashing little kid. He is.
I'm going to go turn the cameras off because we're going to run out of tape. We're not going to be able to have any room for Grandpa.
Okay, would you say you've had a good life?
Would
you say you've had a good life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
No,
Charity.
yeah,
not at
parts
all.
of it, parts
Not
of
by
it.
far.
Yeah,
Would you change anything?
I'd changed quite a few things, but I mean, basically, I would think we've had a good life.
Yeah, oh we have, yes, we have.
Brilliant.
Yes, because I mean we had a good life when our parents were
No,
alive.
we had
and,
a good
yes, we have,
upbringing.
yes, we had a very good upbringing. Strict, I mean,
Well, I
My mother
don't
was
think
quite-
my mother was so strict, really. I don't think she was
oh I know when,
Maybe by modern
not so much
standards.
with us, but I think she was with Elsie.
with Elsie. I think we could get away with more with
That's
being
right,
younger,
yes,
maybe.
but with Elsie it was
I think-
definite, she had to be in at 10 o'clock and
Yeah,
if she
I think
wasn't
she
in
was
at 10
quite
o'clock,
strict with him being the eldest.
yes.
But I don't remember being too, strict with me.
No,
I don't-
no,
not
no.
really, no.
Mm.
But,
Well, I always remember on holiday though, we weren't allowed to get up from the table.
oh,
if,
I know,
yes,
things like
that-
that.
I mean, I
that's
meant
table
things like
manners,
that,
isn't it,
sort
really?
of,
I mean, that's,
I know she used to always say she could take us anywhere.
I think every child should be brought up like that. To sit at the table and
Until they
know
were
the
told they
table
could
manners.
move,
Yes, I do. I think
But
that's